Hi, I'm Ralph, and welcome to my kitchen. Today, we're going to be doing something just a little bit different. We've done chuck steaks before. This is a chuck steak from a bison, a buffalo. And they're a little bit leaner, so we're going to be cooking it a little bit differently to make sure that we get it to come out as tender as possible. Now, I've had this setting out and tempering for just a few minutes. I'm going to be putting a little bit of salt on it, a little bit of kosher salt. But I recently was in Franklin, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville, and going through historic downtown Franklin, discovered this little season shop. I guess it's called Savory Spice, and saw something called the Great Plains Bison and Beef Rub. That's what it looks like. I've never had this before, and it actually kind of inspired me to come home and grab a piece of bison so I could try it out. And I found this great Bison Chuck Steak over at the Wild Fork, who is not a sponsor, but hey, out there, Wild Fork, love to have you as a sponsor. So I'm going to sprinkle this all over our chuck steak, and we're going to be putting this into a crock pot, because I think a crock pot is going to be a good way to get this as tender as possible. I'm going to be putting this on low heat for about 6 hours, just letting it simmer. I think that looks like a pretty good coating. Maybe I'll put a little bit more on the bottom here first, just to make sure that we have lots of great flavor in there. Now I trimmed it just a little bit. I saw something that kind of looked like it might be some silver skin, and I didn't want to have to be dealing with that later. So I trimmed that part off. So if you get some, be aware of that. You might have to as well. I'm going to be taking this and placing it inside the crock pot. Now I'm going to be adding a little bit more than a cup of beef broth. Now, if you do that, I just happen to use the Kroger brand beef broth, but I went and shopped it because for our carnivore friends out there, and like I say, there's a lot of them I know out there on our channel watching us, very conscious about sugar. And a lot of the beef broths that are out there have about 1 gram of sugar in it. We're trying to avoid all the grams of sugar. Now, there's some very expensive that are like about $5.50 for a container like this. I saw another brand name, national brand name, that was also free of sugar, and it was fairly reasonably priced. But here was the Kroger brand, and right there, check it out. 0 sugars. And it was only like about $1.79. Now, some of the others, like Swanson that I looked at, and a couple of other national brands, they had like 1 gram of sugar in it. So be aware, read the ingredients before you just assume. And so cheap does not necessarily mean not good. In this case, it's just as good as the expensive. Now, I've got that in there, got it turned on. Basically, that's it for about the next 6 hours. And I'm going to come back and we will check on you then. And we'll see how this tastes. If you're thinking about it, give me a like or a subscription. Talk to you later. Okay, we are back. And I have to say, I'm a little bit surprised with the results here. When it went into the crock pot, I know it wasn't as large as what I normally think of as a chuck steak, but it came out a little bit smaller. Check this out up close. So I have to say, from that standpoint, I'm a little disappointed. But maybe it tastes good. Let's find out. Color is good. I kind of expected it to be a little bit more tender after 6 hours in the crock pot. but it does have good flavor. I thought it was going to be a little bit drier than what it really is. It's actually pulling apart quite nicely. Feels pretty tender. It was a little surprising because I didn't think it cut tender, but it really is a pretty good tender piece of meat. So, hey, if you're liking this video, give me a like, subscription, and please, please, whether you subscribe or not, leave me a comment. Thanks a lot. I will catch y'all next week. Bye-bye. Come here, Gunner. Come here. If they don't see it, they don't believe it. Here you go, bud. What do you think? I think he likes it.